I'm gonna
Hi,
suck your
everyone.
soul.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is your favorite film critic, Jay, or Jaylan Salah, as you formerly know her. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing my friend, Cam Sully, who is not only a podcaster, and a music video filmmaker, which is really interesting. I gotta ask him about that, but also a great friend on Twitter and on social media, a person you could just have fun with and talk about movies with, and throw things back and forth like memes and movie news and stuff like that. So it's a great, and this is like I'm telling you, I'm doing the series on interviewing dear cinephiles and film lovers and aspiring filmmakers, getting to know us and talk about us, basically. So Cam here is one of the first guests on my pod in this new series. So Cam, just so happy to talk to you today.
Likewise, yeah, you validate a lot of people. You validate yourself. You're always sharing some good vibes. They should make. You should be the main head of Blue Sky. Make it mainstream again.
Thanks a lot.
Sharing all this science tech, all this feel good tech, in between your celeb crushes, in between film festivals you just attended, and kudos to them because there's all these other festivals that are coming out of the woodwork. I'm like, I had no idea that was a thing. I knew about this one and that one, this sister one that just closed down. I had no idea that thing just opened over there. What kind of movies are playing there? I wonder,
Exactly. You never know. And I just love highlighting films that I feel are not getting that hype, are not under the spotlight. And I feel like every movie deserves to be seen and deserves to be loved and talked about, especially like interviewing people like filmmakers. And so, although sometimes this can backfire, and maybe you can talk about that, Cam, but at the same time,
Yep.
when you talk to people who have made their first movie or have acted in, like shorts and stuff like that, you always get eye-opening conversations and stuff like that. But Cam here, our friend Cam, he is not only the host of the Jacked Up Review podcast, which I had the pleasure of being a guest on before. He's also starting a true crime podcast, The Five Puzzling Questions. Cam, I didn't know you were interested in true crime. Tell me more about that.
So I'd always been a radio guy in general, so I knew about radio dramas and what have you. And like you say, like true crime is an interesting thing because like you got people who aren't even really necessarily into radio or even documentaries, dare I say, you know, sacrilege. But it's interesting how it's a way like I think much like when you find that perfect therapist who's actually listening to you and worth your time and money, it's the same kind of deal. You're getting people who are not only helping heal the aches and bruises of unspeakable stuff that's impacted their communities, but detectives are now being forced to actually listen to this and address questions that they never answered for. And even for stuff that's still unfortunately become a cold case, you're still getting just some political and social tension. You're getting other people who have literally made use of their free time and pretty much ended up being an amateur detective, just solved all kinds of unspeakable stuff. And whether it be, Me Too foul play to sports stars to other mysterious murders dating back to the 80s. And you're just like, my word, why was no one who we supposedly could count on there to solve this thing? And kudos to Wondery, kudos to iHeart, kudos, and that's the other thing too. iHeart was getting some clickbaity ones, but they've finally gotten some way more reliable production companies. And even just talking to some of these guys in general, they're literally just like you and me. They're just like, I got a 9 to 5 job. I don't even think of myself as a true crime narrator. It's like, but they just had this voice and they wanted to do something of good, just kind of like when you want to watch a movie that's actually impactful. You've seen all the junk. You want to get that out of your system now. And so I get way more out of it versus just seeing some other, 2020 documentary where I'm like, okay, that didn't do anything for me. That just made me just look at the world in a more cynical manner. So it's very cool that even stuff like Behind the Bastards will mix into history stuff, and they have to use off-color humor just to not to downplay it, but just to get you through all this stuff. So just when you think of there can't be anyone worse than Hitler, oh yes there are. Yes there are.
Many horrible people in the world. Okay, because you mentioned topic that I'm really interested in because we're
Yes.
regular people, we're regular folks. We have jobs, we have lives, we have responsibilities, groceries, bills, all the
Oh
crap.
man.
And we take this as our outlet, as places where we just pour our hearts and souls and try to be maybe a different version of ourselves, maybe to imagine that there is more to our lives than it already is. Why do you think we do what we do? We seek what we seek.
It's escapism mixed in with other wants and needs, maybe lusts, but it is interesting how that's kind of even a cover story at this rate. There's something more to that. And, I mean, I did some therapy 2 years ago and realized, wow, I had all this other stuff packed away. I thought I was over. You're telling me I'm still not over that one bully in high school? Wow, but I didn't talk about it with anyone. So I think that's just it. We are trying to find the right people to talk to stuff about. So kind of just like other people being validated. Wow, I thought I was the only guy who dug this, synthwave 80s cult group. I thought I was the only guy who likes this cult comedy from the 90s that premiered on Showtime. Is like, yeah, there's a crowd out there. There are other people, but it's even more than just a message board. It's more than a Discord group. It's more than even just a social gathering group that on Meetup. There's all kinds of other avenues, and people are just kind of having to just take the plunge. And there's always an avenue. You might say, I don't want to be on Fred's or Twitter right now. That's fine. You can find some other place where you might meet that special someone. And I did this at the Tampa Con. I went there with the guys who run Gonzo Minute, which covers 1 minute of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas at a time. They also do the Predator movie minute. So, but we were finding all kinds of people who there was a fun Monty Python panel, and what was cool about that is everybody was like, the reason people like cult comedians like this is, again, this wasn't cool to like at the time, but now you found a special someone who's also the rare kind of a human being with other wants and needs. So we find these indirect avenues to locate that one person, and uh that I recommend everyone go to a convention. You'll find all kinds of unusual panelists. We ended up doing a cult movie panel that Cliff
Wow.
loved and I didn't love, but we had to host it because the original host literally was a no-show. So it's like, well, we're just the guest here, so I guess we're running this panel now and gonna share some stupid movie trivia with you right here that I have no business knowing. And the pet kudos to the people who were there taking answering the questions because they knew too much random meaningless movie trivia. There was a women in comedy panel that was the highlight, and we were kind of having fun. Just like, yeah, I know you know this comedian. Have you heard of this one? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't get enough love, so it's whatever you can do to just kind of find that special someone. And if you're just still very shy, I mean, then find a better group because there's all these other groups. I don't know if you've noticed that have recreated the IMDb template, but it's like filmboards.org and a bunch of other ones. And it's like, yeah, we pretty much took the website, we copy and pasted it, and without any of the, you know, because message boards aren't a thing on IMDb anymore, but we recreated it from scratch. And so this is as close as you're going to get to recreating that magic, I guess.
Yes.
And I'm
For sure.
surprised what sites are active. And there's other ones that people introduced me to. Even just going to blu-ray.com, the official blu-ray.com, you might find something you like.
So true, when you might find a crowd. So the jacked up review, it's been there for a while. I want to know your idea. What brought it into you?
It was just it. I was doing some ventures. I was getting ripped off on no budget indie filmmaking projects. I was doing extra work, and I just said, it's about time that instead of just doing a project for 2 years that never comes to fruition, I already had literally, I kid you not, done a stupid no budget war movie in the woods that involved us getting bit by chiggers and a
What?
bunch of and me hanging out with some people who I had no idea were actually MAGA, and me
Oh,
deciding, screw this movie. This is already a poor man's Sicario Born Identity. I need to exit this awful project. And that mixed in with some other no budget faith movies, kung fu movies,
wow.
and just people talking smack about each other in the Dallas Fort Worth community. And I just said, done. I already got a stable job. I've already gotten rid of two other jobs where people are acting unprofessional. I now got a solid day job, but I already know something is missing. And it can't just be that I spend my 3 days off from work just watching TV and hanging out with family all day. That's not enough. There's got to be something more. And it was not easy. I had unusual schedules, but yeah, I just said, hey, here's an invite to everybody. I'm going to start a podcast. And then COVID hit. So we had another reason to stay. I embraced the whole format. I was just like, let's talk about stuff that no one else talks about. Anybody can recap a famous TV show. Anybody can talk about all this installments of this one famous horror sci-fi action movie franchise. Let's do something more. Let's do some amusing comedy roasts of people who should be roasted, but unfortunately are never going to accept that invitation. Let's do just other kinds of humor and just split it up in all kinds of episodes. And fortunately, I had other people who finally were pitching in, and I don't mean monetarily. They were just finally like, let's do some fun kind of chats like this. And then
Hmm.
I encountered some older geezers and some other groups, and it's like, yeah, we got to expand this. Let's talk about the monkeys and how they changed the comedy format on TV. Let's talk about like our top 10 songs by era. But we're gonna go a little something more deeper with that, and then started networking with other podcasters, and here we are. But I am always challenging myself. I'm always like, oh, I can't stand that franchise. Let's review it. Like let's validate everybody here. Let's see where this dropped out. Let's see where this got divisive. And unfortunately, I see so many who are like, I can't talk about that movie. I hate that movie so much. I'm like, that's the fun. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear why the minority might not latch onto this. And I see so many who restrict themselves. They have no idea that they say I like or don't like this genre. I'm like, you just named five different movies there that are like part of this and that genre. You don't care for it. Trust me. The
Exactly.
world is bigger than you realize and give it credit for.
I feel also that I love the vibe of the podcast. When I was on it, it was like a lot of things
You
together,
and
you know, like
Steph were awesome. Yeah.
it was like back and forth, and it was like a mash of subjects. So was the energy always that dynamic, or did this develop as you went on?
I lucked out. I really found some just great energy. And then I had some guys who started being flakes or just flat out just went silent. And it was like, okay, but I just started getting comfortable in my own shell. It's like I'm not going to rely on a guest. It's like okay, so I believe it or not, I started listening to some guys who do their own solo reviews, and so I gave me more confidence to do it on my own as well. So I was like, yeah, don't. And then it got to where let's just do five a week just to say we can do that because other people go, I'm too busy. I'm like, but I just was tired of doing that whole game of you got to wait for this episode because five other people are in front of you. It's like, nope, no one's waiting anymore. We're doing a themed week now. And I saw how those were doing. Is like, yeah, we talked about this that had to do with this subject. So now we can, yeah, a themed week would be perfect. Everyone can listen to a whole week of us talking about this author or the
This
this music group.
filmmaker or this
Yeah,
band that no one
yeah,
listens to but us.
all
Yes.
kinds of pop culture. So lately we have been doing the tie-ins, if you will. Is like, yeah, did you know this famous movie franchise had some comic book sequels? Were they any good? Probably not, but there's some diamonds in the rough there. Uh, we did some ultra. Let's watch all five versions of this popular movie or TV show, and it's like it's so funny. It's like, yeah, I had no idea there was an Israeli version of The Office. I had no idea that there's. I thought there was two versions of Blade Runner. It's like, no, there's five versions. Man, which one's good? Which one sucks? Which one's the one you should only watch once as a mild curiosity with the deleted scenes put back in. So it's funny too, just seeing the context of something and how that impacts you is like, yeah, whatever you do, never watch this movie on network TV. It's terrible. They cut out all the good stuff. And I don't mean content, I mean all the dialogue that's riveting.
All the things that make the show shine or make it impactful.
Shiny.
Yes. Okay, but you started as a filmmaker, so you really wanted to make a film. So what stopped you? Because for me, I wanted to write scripts at a time in my life. I got on a project with people, and then I don't know, the idea kind of like died inside me for some reason. So I want to
It's
ask because it's something that actually impacted me as well.
it's a mixture of that when you're like, I love this idea, but now I'm not feeling it 2 years from now. What changed? Don't want to throw all this time and money at it. And so there was a mixture of that, jobs changing. Uh, Literally, I was evolving every year. I was just like, wow, I was a really stuck up idiot
I
3
thought
years
I knew
ago.
everything. Yes.
And I didn't think I knew everything. I just thought I had a lot of answers. But it's like, that's the other thing too. You're just like, I just got to that point where it's like, okay, I'm going to help out these guys. They're pretty reliable. They know how to make some very awesome public service announcements. And I just got tired of shorts. It's like, okay, shorts are fine as a showing a sizzle reel, but then web series weren't really becoming a thing anymore. Like that stopped being a thing on YouTube and Yahoo. So I was like, yeah, we got to try out a movie, but then I could never get anyone to agree on budgets with me and everything. And I was like, okay, but I found some solace in doing some music videos. I was like, yeah, I think this is the place to be. It's not going to take 2 years of your life, but it's also going to get people's attention. And so, yeah, I'm going to definitely keep helping out with those because those can go by way quicker and everyone's got the same vision. And even if you don't like the visuals, you'll at least listen to the music or opening titles. So it's a win for me, I think, personally. And what is the main thing is trying to find the right crew member. There was always someone who I would just find was talented, but pissing people off behind the scenes. In this case, I found people who were great cinematographers, but terrible to work with in the editing room. So, yeah,
That's
and that's
terrible.
just
Yes.
right. I need to have it perfect. I don't ask for much. I feed everyone on time. And that's the other thing, too. You cannot, I was finding so many sets who were not doing that. I'm like, not cool. You better
No,
have a
no.
taco. You
Mm-mm.
better have something. And so then I had to also just find out how can I be using my time because we all have a few different crises and I found out that I was just not getting enough sleep and that was impacting my day-to-day functioning. So I had to work on me for a bit. I also had to just get some of the flakes out of my life and I just said, okay, I'm going to take a break from this and find just some projects, just find other ways to stay relevant. There's a cool app now called Be Seen. I don't know if you've heard of that. And
No,
that's
please tell
yeah,
me.
BESCENE. And that seems to be finding a lot of talent throughout different states because I was on some of those other apps that were kind of the LinkedIn for filmmakers, but they were kind of if you didn't respond like within 5 minutes of them asking, they were already on to someone else. They had already
Ooh.
booked talent. So I was like, yeah. And so I've always loved doing road trips. So I think I'm just going to be doing more and more conventions as it goes on and just, if anything, find those right in between people. Because that's the other thing, too. Finding the right film critics who aren't snobs. It's like, it's
Oh my
okay
God.
you hate this. I'm fine that you don't like that. But you're really singling out people.
Yeah, don't
And
shit on me for liking it. I don't care about your opinion, dude.
yeah,
I don't.
I
I honestly don't.
after seeing articles about the birth movie's death guy, Devin Ferrarsi, and what a pain impalement he was to many people, I was just like, wow, okay.
Okay.
It, you can found a site without, you know, you know, ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, making everyone miserable along the way. What a terrible experience it is. And I know
Mhm.
what you mean because I feel like I was just thinking about losing your passion because I still have passion for podcasting and for interviewing and for
Right?
collaborating, but I don't find passion for creating my own art anymore. Like I was working on this novel with
Mm,
someone really close to me and we were researching and stuff. And I was writing the novel and realizing I don't really want to write anything, not a script. I had script ideas. There were projects we worked on with other friends, and of course, they all failed, fell through. So I was like, wait a minute. Why am I losing passion in this area? But I still want to talk about art. Does this mean I'm not genuine enough, or is this
no, you're
easier?
genuine. It
Yeah,
just goes in different format. Like I wanted to do some fan films for a while, and then I
yeah.
was getting so annoyed of having to tell the actor, think of this like a parody, except you're doing a very convincing portrayal, and they weren't getting it. They weren't doing the studying. I'm like, okay, forget I even asked. I'm just canceling this project. And it's like, yeah,
Boom.
it might work better as an audio drama nowadays, since a lot of
Hmm.
people would rather hear it as a radio drama. So with your book, you might find, hey, I want to make this be a blog, and that's where I was even finding with blogging. I was on a blog where I wasn't appreciated. I was basically watching crappy screeners all day. And I was like, this might be better to just do as a podcast because I'd rather articulate this than just talk about it for an hour and it's only viewed, by one, 5 people who frequent the site, probably including the admin. It's like I need more than that. So whatever you feel will give you the most satisfaction, if not audience, that is definitely the thing to look for. And stop trying to predict it. That's all I can say. I see a lot of people, they're trying to be the smartest guy in the room. It's like it's pretty impossible to know what will hit when you don't know if it'll work or not to begin with. Just if you have complete confidence in it and you're giving it your all and you think you can be a good judge of your own character, that's the other thing. Like I'm not a good actor, so I'm gonna spare you and not act on screen. So,
Same
you
here,
know,
exactly. Just my voice. Voice acting is good for me, but I'm not going to
yeah,
make
voice
people feel
acting,
bad. Exactly.
whole different story. You can fool people into thinking, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
10-year-old talking being a bratty. It's like, no,
Look
that's
at
a
this old 70-year-old
30 something
lady.
guy. And it's also funny too, seeing how voice acting has changed. I've seen some people do challenges with themselves and it's helped them get gigs, not necessarily just in even voiceover narration, but just like in how they present themselves if they're like a presenter for like a work. So I think that's just it. Kind of like you see some of your favorite actors who have retired and now become like real estate agents, is like finding cross platform is definitely key for any kind of job. Is like, yeah, it. I found that improv comedy was good at killing, stripping away a lot of fears. Is like, yeah,
I
you
wish
get.
I really wanted to do stand-up comedy at a certain point in my life. I really
Oh,
love
stand up's
making
a whole
people
different
laugh.
thing, but it's possible. But yeah,
I
improv
just
is
love
great.
making people laugh. I just think I'm at my best when I'm funny and when I'm around funny people and people laugh. Because even people who I love who are like downers or drag you down, oh my God, I feel like they
Yes.
suck the energy out of me. So I tend to stay away. Like, yeah, try to
Uh,
stick with the idiots, the
improv would be
sillies.
great. Improv would be great for you because all you're doing literally is listening and reacting. And sometimes the most driest response that you don't necessarily find funny is funny to other people. So, but it's good in that it helps you kind of deal with interruptions in your life better, I find personally. Because,
Wow.
so like, let's just say you missed the bus back to whatever place. Well, I guess I'm getting on this flight at 5. Just do it. Just like you're finding other avenues to jump into. You might find, I don't like this kind of car, but I'm driving it right now because I want to get back right now. I want to stop waiting around, letting you know daylight die.
This personality that is in front of me, what
I
made
get
you who you are? Like, was it like the way you were brought up, or was it school, or was it the extracurricular activities you were on, a group of friends that you met at a certain point in your life? Because you're a special person. So, what made you?
just like you are atypical. I think this is it. You appreciate your own kind of weirdness, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I just found I kicked a lot of things out of my persona early. Like I saw that being a smartass in college wasn't serving anyone any good, so I got rid of that persona as quick as I could. I had a pretty open and supportive family, but it was also just a matter of you go through life, and even though you get certain degrees and whatever, you still find I need to try something else because this
That's
isn't
it.
cutting it. This isn't satisfactory.
Yeah.
I pretty much got the day job handled to where it was solid. There were no constant interruptions, and I hate this. Screw my boss. I'm quitting. It got to where I just after a while but definitely young adult, early teen life, I just knew that I was living in an unusual kind of world where you were encountering all kinds of radicalized politics,
Yeah.
and I just said I need to just keep observing what kind of a wasteland society's unleashing upon us. With are the arts, I've always been gotten plenty of support on that from both friends and family, and it's interesting how it has changed. All the
Yeah.
avenues that were possible are no longer a thing. Right now, you're not seeing any cable TV produce any new things. Right now, you're not having reality TV is even bigger than it used to be. You're
Yeah.
seeing stuff that you didn't know was a thing still be appreciated. People are supporting their local Shakespeare in the Park, if not uh comedy buddies on TikTok. It's interesting how I can't even tell you what the next avenue is going to be. It probably won't even be on the internet, but yeah, I just always just was looking at myself in the mirrors like I like my soul, but I don't like how I look. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to find something I can live with. And yeah, I got out of the college, and but I treated it like a prison. Let's get the
Yeah.
hell out of here as fast as you can.
What
I
did
don't
you
want to be here all.
study? Because I
Oh,
studied pharmacy.
you studied pharmacy, yeah. So I
Yeah.
studied some arts. I did kind of the basics in high school. Senior
Mm.
year is where you really find your voice in high school, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to take women's lit as well as a regular book club class. I'll take psychology and sociology and get a bigger appreciation of the world. And I'm fortunate enough to have a family that's on both sides of the political equator that I never had any feathers to ruffle. But at the same time, I also was getting over just personal shyness as well as just realizing, wow, there's so much I do not have in common with this xenophobic world. I'm seeing so many guys just say
Yes.
tasteless jokes. It's like you literally just called your neighbor a terrorist just because you disagree with them. That's not how that works, dude. But yeah, so uh, we're talking 90s to today, and I'm just like, yeah, how much I just keep getting ready for other unexpected stuff. Stuff that should be surprising, even if you say it doesn't really surprise you, you're still a little shocked by it. You're just like, wow, I thought I knew better. I thought I expected better of this guy. So
Yeah.
I'm on a quest to find better peers, as well as just find a new way to entertain others and keep myself happy. So
Yes.
we will see. I'm
Okay.
sure you are as well.
Oh my God. I'm on a quest. I'm on a daily quest, and I feel like my quest keeps getting updated day by day by day because I thought I knew myself and I thought I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But lately, I've been like, okay, do I really want to still be a film critic, a poet, a writer until the rest of my like, or do I want to do something else? Or do I
mm.
still want this? Because I've lived multiple lives where in particular parts of my life, I was a completely different person doing completely different things with completely different people. And then it changed, and then the tides were turning. So
Mm.
now I'm at again at that existential crisis where I feel like, okay, do I need a change? And for some reason, I feel like there's something inside me that is, changing and manipulating and kind of like bursting that very thick coat.
Yes.
So yeah, this is a very confusing stage for me in my life. This is what is bringing me to this question. Do you think cinema has the same impact that it used to? Because I'm fearing that one day I will wake up and realize, wait a minute, I'm only looking at the past. The past only intrigues me. The idea of talking about franchises and classic cinema and things that I used to be passionate about in the past, but the present and the future are getting more and more bland or tasteless or just redundant, kind of like as if they're regurgitating things from the past and producing them, reproducing
Yeah.
them.
I've been picky since 2012, and it didn't help that I found out that movie trailers are produced by other companies instead of in-house. And so I think that's just it. We're seeing stuff for material we may or may not care for, but it's marketed to the lowest common denominator. Or so if I make a point to never see a trailer, is like I know that's just to sell it. That's not the actual product. But yes, uh, I feel like that's been the uprising. You're seeing a lot of people do deep cuts, blogs on undiscovered movies and music. I There's a cool site called Mubi. You might know them as one of the production companies that produce The Substance, MUBI. And I noticed they seem to have a new film library. I'm even noticing that All Movie and some of these other sites that are similar to IMDb and Letterboxd are kind of a good outlet for helping you find just kind of stuff that went undiscovered. Like there wasn't even a TV spot for it. That's how unknown it is. So you will always find something that no one is talking about. I'm noticing some podcasters who are getting screeners for material. So that's kind of interesting. But you can always keep doing what you want, and you might just end up working in time for something new, just to keep that flavor. Just like think of it like food. There's plenty of stuff you're eating, but you don't anymore. It was delicious the first 100 times.
Yes.
You don't need to eat it anymore, especially if it's causing your nose to run, in which case it's allergic and you shouldn't be eating it anyway. So,
Stop it, exactly. Or you're going to
yeah.
the toilet too often, so stop
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Your stomach is
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
And
God.
so, yeah, if you're finding, I'm already excusing myself from so many people on Twitter just because I know they're asking loaded questions.
Oh my
And it's
God,
like,
yes.
I don't want to be part of that loaded question anymore because I know it's just going to be a shitstorm. I don't want to be part of the herd. I don't want to be part of that sheep
What
jumping off a
I
cliff.
Okay, well, you brought an interesting point too, because I realized that there are people who want to drag you into endless, mindless debates where they just want to prove you wrong.
Yeah,
But I don't want that. And sometimes it happens even in things like things that I've written or things that I expressed publicly that I liked. And I didn't say no in the beginning because I thought, okay, debate is good. It's good to talk and debate things. But then I realized that I'm wasting my energy. Like by the time the episode is over, I'm energy drained. So I realized, no, 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 no. Okay, like if I want to do something right, I will do it the way I want, or I will do it. Like if I want to
standards.
honor a per a particular actor or a particular movie, I'm not going to pick the people who want to prove you stupid because you like this. No, no, no. I can easily cancel you. I could talk to you about a whole lot other topics that don't feel so passionate to me or so important to me, you know what I mean? So yeah, I realized that I'm getting dragged into lots of pointless conversations where people try to
It's a
prove
test.
themselves right. I was on a
Instead of A
podcast
and B, select C.
I was on a podcast once where we were all saying our opinions, and then someone said, "Oh, wait a minute, because like blah 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 will give us the right opinion." And I was like, "Guys, there is no right
Jeez,
opinion.
thanks.
You like this, we don't like it.
You're
End of
not
story.
wrong. You're just inaccurate.
We're just going home happy. Why can't we have that? Why does it have to
Yeah.
be like your team versus our?" So I was like, even
We
talking
can't
to
be friends anymore. I hate that.
Exactly. So I
Like,
was like talking to even a friend after the podcast. I was like, wasn't this the worst podcast we've ever been on? And he was like, yes, you are right.
that's how I met some of my best friends. We were on a crappy reality show and we're like, can you believe they think this is real TV? And those
Exactly.
people are still my friends. They've worked all kinds of entertainment gigs. It's even funnier when you see it's like, man, had I not done that awful movie or podcast with you, wow, we had met these awesome friends of ours.
Exactly.
We were
United
on the
in
wrong
hatred.
path. We suffered together, therefore we are friends. We made it out of the furnace
My
alive.
sister made one of her best friends at a time in her life. They were both like going to this job orientation or whatever, and they looked at each other, complete different strangers, and they were like, this job sucks. We gotta get out of here. And they
Not going to
became best
survive
friends later.
even the
Exactly.
training. Yeah.
Exactly. Like imagine orientation and the job sucks already.
It's even funnier which ones you're kind of glad you avoided. It's like it might not have been a good environment. It would have been temporary. I was trying out for a Entertainment gig,
Okay.
and I could tell the guys weren't accepting any new applications because I kid you not, I gave my application. I came back the next day. They're like, "We don't have it." I'm like, "Sure."
Oh my
So you
God.
threw it
Oh
in the
God.
trash.
This is
I
awful.
but I had the last laugh. Is like later that year, I see that it's already they filed
Closed.
Chapter 11. Yeah, so I'm like,
See?
yeah,
Exactly.
whatever.
This is what my sister tracks the jobs that she had because she's like very psychic. So she tracks the ones that she felt like, this is not gonna work. She asks people like months later, like, hey, and they're like, oh my God, this is the worst job ever, worst environment. She's like, told ya. I'm telling ya. So yeah.
Bullet dodged.
Okay. I was applying for this customer service job, okay? And I met this guy whom I
You
knew
got a good
from
voice.
Thank you. So, and we used to be friends in the past, and he was like applying for the same job, and he was like, "Yeah, I was crying to him every day, like I can't, I hate it, feel suffocated, blah blah blah." And he was like, "Okay, Jailan, just quit. I don't think you're fit for it." And it was during training period. I gotta tell you, like 3 years later, he's dead, and he's like in his early 40s. They suck the life out of him. They work people. I heard
Stress can kill you.
people there, managers, bullies, they rarely give you like days off. They
So
just
he was doing you
mistreat.
a favor, but he said it in the most detestable way, just so you wouldn't have time to respond and you would cry and go
Exactly.
home.
That's the
So
thing.
that's wild. We But you said you were
Insane.
still cool with them other than that crappy occasion, or you weren't?
No, no, no. We stopped talking because later on I thought, oh my God, he was like trying to kick away competition. It was like the Park Chan-wook movie or something. But then, years later, he's just, oh my God. So it's just weird. And I just
You
read
kind of
his,
wish he had taken a case of his own medicine. It's like, okay, you need to get out.
exactly,
That's awkward. It's like,
exactly. It's just so
yeah, you were a
scary.
jerk to me, but I feel sorry that you fell victim to
And you even, yeah, they killed you. Oh my God. So it
the
was like,
cesspool of awful
yeah.
workers. And
And this is all I think because of capitalism. I feel like it brings out the worst of us and kind of like creates this environment where
yes,
it's survival for the fittest, but can't we coexist? No.
oh, and then you got to even be more careful. How, without fail, we wasted time going into some of these videos that don't answer our questions, and we should have known better because they had a clickbaity looking promo image advertising the site and the blog. And then we get into some of those other ones that are promoting mental health, but for a price. You're like, hmm, okay. So you just
Exactly.
told me a good story that wasn't much, and now you got to give me
Exactly.
an iffy product. I'm not, you're kind of doing the predictable business strategy. I need a little something more. So set your own limits. Always find an indirect way to challenge yourself. I Half the stuff that we could use to make our life better is literally right in front of us, but we're not using it because we're like, what do I want to use that for? It's
Exactly.
my
Exactly.
sister was using all these different things because she, long story short, got a massage years ago from a crappy, she was like at Six Flags or something. She was just on a crappy trolley car, and it just
Yeah.
always made her back just irritated, which made her persona more irritated.
Yes.
And so she's using all the different, heated bean bags and
Yeah.
everything, once a day. She also just found, I just need another cat in my life. That helps. I'm like,
S-
so you got to find all kinds of other elements. It's not just whatever drink you're taking or protein you're having in your diet, or
So
just
true.
talking to someone who is listening, receiving it. There's all kinds of other factors you can use to just uh, get a better night's sleep, get a better attitude. I find that just looking at Google News like once a week is good. You know,
100%. I'm trying to also eliminate like distressing social media things, you know what I mean? Like
balancing
whether
it out.
tweets
Yeah.
or presences or trending topics, or the news section. Oh my God, it makes my heart race and I can't even stand it. So yeah, I'm trying to get less of that, less of triggering things, be in my happy
If
space as
someone's
much.
just pissing you off, just literally, I can't tell you how many people will leave a message group, and it's like, that's fine.
Yeah,
No
that's
shame.
even the groups we're in. Like I
You're
I
in that
am
other
like
one, which they love.
I like this group so much, but there are people leaving. I was like, okay, guys, like good luck. But seriously, for me, I think I haven't under control. I really feel like I'm getting the best experience out of it and I'm staying away from the drama. So what works for, like one man's wedding is one man's funeral. So it might work for you
Yes,
and not
most certainly.
work for me. But
Hell, there's days where I just look at my bank account and I'm like, now
oh
I
my God.
know what subscription to cut out. I'm buying too much of that. I really don't need that right now. It's just
Exactly. Exactly.
little, little things.
But okay, because I feel like the beauty of cinephilia or loving films or podcasting or whatever is not just talking about films, but meeting different people. Like I can tell you how many people I know from different states, like different say like people from Arizona are different from people from California, different from people from New York or New Jersey or Philadelphia. I've known people from all over, and then you have people Australians, and then you have French friends, and then you have people from the UK. So it's different. And sometimes I feel like the most interesting part, at least for me, is when you click with this person, this person, this person, but they're all different. But yet, this person
Yes.
has gone through a similar breakup. This person had a similar workplace problem. This person had like an ex like yours. This person has
Oh
the
man.
same family baggage. So I feel like this is the beauty of sometimes not just the art itself, not the movie, but the idea of meeting different people and realizing, wow, we're more in common, not just because we all like supernatural.
Right? It was like, wow, I thought you were the only guy who meditated using this and this. I'm like, oh, you did it before it was cool. So, yeah, I mean, I used to use Filmic Pro, believe it or not, around the same time Soderbergh was using it, and I would encounter some, geezer filmmakers who are like, it's amateur. How dare you film on a phone? And now everybody's using a phone. It's like it can be used in a right way. You're looking at movies that aren't using it the right way. So it's just like, just let it go, man. It's not like they asked you to agree. They just said, I'm using this. And now we're seeing AI is like, and we saw the reaction to that. I don't blame anyone for hating AI. So it's now at a point where it's like, now let's find someone who can use it without compromising jobs or killing creativity or making a soulless non-movie,
Exactly.
using an animation that was actually created by an artist. So, there's all kinds of, it doesn't have to be a crap show. It doesn't have to be awful. And I'm finding my grandmother was my mentor. She was a school teacher. I quote her every
Wow.
day. But what's so funny is I'm also just been having a coming to Jesus moment, realizing there's a lot of stuff I'm doing now she would not approve of. And that's okay. It's my life to live. I've
Yes.
already did my part of the equation, which was making her happy.
Yeah.
So before and after she passed. So that's the other thing too. You have to still work on you without being selfish. That's what stinks having to tell everyone. It's like they want to do one or other. It's like without working on you, you are useless to everybody. You are worthless to
Exactly.
yourself. So, but that's not the same as being selfish. I only care about me.
Yeah,
No, that's not
exactly. You
what
can
I'm
all
saying.
die. Yeah, exactly. No, no, no.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm
that.
not
I'm cutting you
saying
out of my life. No, it doesn't have to be like that.
I'm not saying that. No,
Mhm.
no one's saying that. But everyone thinks, oh, work on myself. So be selfish. No, work on you and still just sometimes half your friends just want someone to talk to. So just talk to them.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I have all the answers or I'm going to suggest a job that they've already told you I'm not interested in working on. And I think we just got to get better at just conversation skills. How many friends have you had to cut out of your life just because they just want someone to complain with, but they don't actually have much in common, let alone they only want to complain. They don't want to actually work on themselves.
Or people who tell you useless advice. Like I was
Ah,
depressed at a certain point in my life, and I knew this girl. She wasn't just depressed. She had bipolar. She had multiple personality disorder. She had all kinds of crap. And she sees me, and she's like, "Wow, Jaylan, you're depressed." And I'm like, she's like, "You know what? Go to the gym." And I was like, wait a minute. Do you want me when you're having one of your episodes to tell you, oh, you know what you need to do? To go to the gym. What a senseless, tasteless thing to say to your friend. So I kind of like cut her out of my
yeah,
life, of course. But the easiest thing for me, trust me, is to cut people out of my life because there is always new people. When you cut bad people out of your life, you always open up opportunities for better and different, more people in common with their
absolutely.
new you. So yeah, so just watch me do this.
There was a idiot who my sister and I knew from high school and college. I kid you not. And like my sister was iffy on her. She's like, I'm not sure I believe everything she says. Then I hear her make a rumor about a professor. I'm like, I'm open to that, but I see no proof that he's said something inappropriate to anybody. I think I would know by now. I would hear it from someone else. And this is a pretty diverse class and everything. I'm going here at different hours. I'm not seeing anything suspicious like you're saying. And then next thing you know, I'm seeing her go on very radicalized stuff. I'm like, definitely don't want to be talking to her right now. Next thing you know, a year ago, there's a big eclipse here in the States. She unleashes her flat earth theory. I'm like, I should have seen this way more in advance. But see,
Way in the past.
I didn't hang out with her. So yeah, and there were some other people I unfriended recently. They were just bitterly divorced and posting the most incel, sexist shit
And
they
scary
could ever
too.
post.
Exactly.
But I hated myself that I didn't unfriend them sooner because I just wasn't looking at all the shit they were posting on Facebook. I was just figuring, okay, someone I'm going to disagree with. I was like, no, I really need to. Like, I have nothing in common right now. I had that moment in the sun, but there's nothing left now. So just run away,
Exactly. Exactly. Run away, run away, run
run
away the
away,
other direction.
ignore them, lose my number. Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever seen those amusing film set memes for when you can tell you're working on a professional indie film versus a crappy indie film? Like if they're at giving you whatever answers, passive aggressive stuff, you already know they don't have a vision versus they've
Exactly.
answered this, they got storyboards, they've
They're being
already
such pricks, they're failures
yeah.
and they don't know jack squat about what they're doing. Yes.
I had a guy who was basically shooting all hours of the night. And first he offered me this money, then he retracted that offer. Then he was saying, "How about we do it on this day or that day?" I'm like, "You are just so not listening to anything." And he had like
Dude.
five different gaffers, five different like
Oh my
production
God.
assistants. Is like, no, there only needs to be like one or two for each category. There's not need to be free. That tells me
Exactly.
that other person's a no show, and you're going to give them nothing to do except twiddle their thumbs on set. So yeah, you gotta just call a spade a spade. You got to just say, that's bullshit. I'm not doing that.
100%. So what is next for Cam? What are you doing
Oh, man.
next? What do you aspire to other than the true crime podcast?
So, yes, thank you for that transition. Yeah. So, this True Crime and History podcast is like, yeah, there's plenty of good ones, but kind of like we were doing just atypical stuff with the movie stuff instead of only talking about one category. I didn't want it to be closed down. So, that's going to be a work in progress we're working on for a while. And I figured, yeah, with this, we need to absolutely just, instead of just the billionth uh, serial killer or scandalous affair. We can talk about some other entertainment stuff. We can talk about some other triggering issues, like is this producer uh, have a vision, but they got a soulless amount of talent they're hiring? We'll even get a little deeper. We can talk about the other Kennedys who have had scandals. We can talk about the other just how many times the stock market has crashed. We can talk about just other stuff that would be good to know, just as a simple reminder. And I mean, I'm looking at all the other people here who are doing stuff. You got Stupid History Minute, you got other great guys at On Filming
Yes.
Studios, but you're also just getting some other guys. I'm like, wow, I had no idea someone was talking about this and that. That's good to know. And so, yeah, at this point, I'm just whatever can be a good challenge. And I think, yeah, true crime and history would be good. There are times where I'm like listening to so many other stories, and I'm like, I can't do that story justice, but I can talk about this variation of the story that no one wants to talk about. Where did this one constant rumor thread start on the internet? You could talk about that without giving necessarily a voice to it, but also validating all sides for whatever your take. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to get into some political scandals. I'll get into some lesser known murders, but yeah, I'll try to do a little more than that. I'll definitely try and let you know how many times the government is shut down. Hey, what do you know? Just added another one to the docket. So you want to talk about just stuff that's definitely not going to be too dated either. Just like so I can't do justice to that reality TV show star that got you know cheated on. I can't do justice to that other billionaire who's similar to all the Ross Perot's and Trumps of the world. But I can definitely do justice to some of these other lesser known stories. And so, yeah, the who, what, when, where, and why is like the simplest five easy questions you could ask. And those are going to be interesting because we probably won't be able to answer even a fifth of those, it's because there's going to be some of these that are just like, yeah, your guess is as good as anyone else, likely unknown in this case. I can tell you the who, I can't tell you the why or what, where.
But that's interesting, honestly. I
And
can't wait.
getting the domain for that was interesting too, because like there's a bunch of who, what, when, where, and whys, but one of them was like a sports talk show, and the other was like a history show. So I was like, yeah, let's just call it the five questions. Then I saw that was taken. So I was like, so why do I ask a question? Well, it's generally because there's something as a puzzle. So yeah, I'll call it the five puzzling questions. So yes,
That's so cool. I really like the
yes.
mentality behind it. That's awesome.
Try and copyright that. And that's the other thing
Yeah.
too. It's also funny seeing which podcasts we should copyright and which ones is like, yeah, it's fine. No one's gonna steal your domain. There's not enough diabolical hackers in this world. But I do like your earlier point on knowing when and where and how to stay on social media. I saw so many people who had their accounts hacked on Instagram because they were doing those awful. It was like a poll from an Indian site, and it was asking for your credit card info. And what do you know? Next thing you know, their account's been hacked. They have to start a new one saying, don't click on that. I'm like, I told you not to click on that. And I told you I wasn't going to vote in that competition because they're asking for confidential info that no one should have access to. And I think a lot of people are just having to learn not to be sheep. It's like is an uncomfortable question to ask, it's probably because something stinks, something reeks.
100%. Exactly. It's stinky and it's weird and it's wrong. 100%. Yeah, that's so true. Okay. So, what I want to ask you is, where can people find you?
I'm on all the socials. I have not given up any of them. I You can find Jacked Up Review Show podcast or Camp Sully on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and we're on all the different platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, and YouTube. If that even works for you, it's interesting how that's the other thing too. Don't ever restrict yourself to just one platform, even if you don't use it all. And this year, I
100%.
decided to update my whole website just to merge it with this. So you got to just whatever gives you more just visibility, just do it.
Just do
Tag
it.
other tag other podcasts that are looking for some collaborator. But I pretty much challenged another guy, and he asked me 5 questions. I had 10 answers. So I was just like, yeah, just don't ask the questions if you're not ready to respond and promote yourself.
Yeah.
Show your naked soul. And I don't mean
Yeah.
show something you don't want to show. I mean just
Don't show us the private
show.
parts, please.
Right,
Just show your
yeah.
soul. Exactly.
And it's so funny how people do that in dating sites. I'm like, there's a reason it's a dating site,
Oh,
guys.
thank you. Yeah, exactly. Definitely a turn off for me. Like, skip.
We're even finding that a lot of those dating sites are garbage. So yeah, just talk to someone, let them know, hey, I'm interested in you, and see if they return a similar compliment. It's funny how we're just having to remind everyone just be human.
Yeah, just be human. Just be human.
Just
Cam, it was an honor and just awesome talking to you. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
likewise, thank you for the invite. Man, we plowed through this. We went through so many other endeavors. Uh
Yeah.
and man, it's just can everybody just pat each other on the back once in a while?
Just be kind, just be nice, just be lovely, just be chill. Please. Can't we just have a good environment where we just support each other? Because when I lift you up, you lift me up, and everyone goes home happy.
Yeah, even add your 2 cents to an inspiring meme. I'm seeing so many other people sharing some put downs, and like, here's the thing: you already don't want to have a conversation. You want to attract hate mongers, so it's like let's not and say we did.
Absolutely, absolutely. This was a great episode, Cam. Thank you for making me laugh a lot.
Intentional. Thank you. Keep being you. Never compromise yourself. Keep uplifting others in the most indirect ways, and then in some other direct ways.
Yeah, because I do that as well.